Welcome to another episode in our series, 100 Years at the Library, which looks at the history of the Frick Art Reference Library through some of the fascinating objects in our collections. I'm Suz Massen, Associate Chief Librarian for Access. Today, we travel back in time to 1973 in New York City to examine a well-known art auction held at Sotheby, Parke-Bernet. This auction sold major works by contemporary American artists from the collection of Robert C. and Ethel Scull. The Frick Art Reference Library holds a copy of its catalog, one of more than 100,000 auction catalogs in our collections, dating from the 1600s to the present. The Scull catalog documents this historic sale, which pushed the prices paid for contemporary American art to new levels and became a public sensation, focused not only on prominent artists, but also in the collectors themselves. Robert and Ethel Scull began building their wealth through an inherited share of a taxi fleet. Robert grew the Super Operating Corporation, later known as the Sculls Angels, to include around 130 taxi cabs and 400 drivers. The couple started collecting abstract expressionist painting in the 1950s and shortly afterwards became fixtures in the New York contemporary art scene. Their collecting later expanded to include minimalism, pop, and conceptual art. On October 18, 1973, the Sculls sold 50 works of art from their collection. Included in the auction were works by Robert Rauschenberg, Jasper Johns, Andy Warhol, Frank Stella, Willem de Kooning, and Walter Di Maria, amongst others. This major sale was covered by the press before the event, and Robert guided its marketing. As a result, the auction was met with great fanfare. On the day of the sale, Ethel notably wore a Halston gown with the Sculls Angels taxi logo across its front. The large crowd, including 2 protests, delayed the 8 p.m. start time of the auction. Outside the sale rooms, members of the Taxi Rank-and-File Coalition, who were critical of Robert's treatment of workers, picketed. Also present were representatives from the group Women in the Arts, who were critical that there was only one woman artist, Lee Bonteque, included in the sale. The event was such a marvel that a documentary film was produced and screened at the Whitney Museum of American Art in 1974. Many of the works in the Scull auction fetched record-breaking prices. Lot 15, Double White Map by Jasper Johns, went for $240,000, setting 4 records. It became the highest amount paid at the time for a work by Johns, for a work by a living American artist, for a work of pop art, and for a work of 20th century American art. This painting is now in the collection of the Whitney. The total paid for the lot sold at the Scull auction was more than $2.2 million, which is roughly equivalent to about $14.5 million today. Our catalog has a yellow cover that echoes the checkered taxis that brought the Sculls their fortune. The glossy pages include entries with descriptive information about the works of art for sale, as well as provenance, exhibition history, and scholarly references, which are important to researchers piecing together the history of an object. Each lot entry is accompanied by a reproduction of the work it describes. The original estimates and price list are included in our copy of the catalog. The Sculls continue to be important within the history of art collecting. Their sensational sale even inspired a 2010 exhibition at the Aquavella Galleries in New York that focused on the Sculls as collectors. We hold a copy of the catalog for this show as well. The history of collecting is a strength of the Frick Art Reference Library's holdings. I invite you to come see the auction catalogs along with other items from our collections in our reading room. Visit frick.org to plan your free visit and stay tuned for more episodes of 100 Years at the Library.